and welcome to Cosmic Connections. This week we have Shooting the Shelf on the show. I'm your host, Jeff, and this is my co-host, Schmerber, or Greg.
Hey guys, welcome.
So we have Jesse Arnold and Curtis Akerman on. How are you guys doing today?
Doing just fine, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're doing great. It was a little difficult going through the time machine to get on this Zoom with you. But after I got that flux capacitor working, yeah, it's smooth sailing. So
The warp drive coils, we're all
yeah, absolutely. So
Awesome
got
to
our top
have.
man working on it.
It's awesome to use old technology, but it's still functional.
there you go. Hey, whatever works.
So we wanted you guys to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourselves, what you've said about shooting the shelf, and where you've come to this day.
Hit it, Jesse.
Well, my name's Jesse Arnold. Shooting the Shelf was a show I started about 2 years ago on the Just Shelve It channel, and by the end of that year, I added Curtis as my co-host, and the show has blown up since then. As far as I'm concerned, it's blown up in a good way. It's been a lot of fun getting to hang out with Curtis and whoever our guests are on Sunday night, talking not just Mythic and Cosmic Legions or Four Horsemen stuff. We talk customizing toy photography, just all sorts of geek stuff. It does lean into that other stuff a little bit more, but yeah, we just like getting to know people.
Yeah, and I would say for my part, I enjoyed watching Jesse's show as a fan before I was able to join him, and I just really love the format. Having people on and learning about them and their journey and what they're going through. It's just a really cool part of it. I know we've got a lot of shows in the community and they all kind of specialize in different things, and a lot of them really hit a lot of the like the news that's going on in the toy community and that kind of stuff. But I think the thing that I first fell in love with Jesse's show was just how focused it was on the guest, and really getting to know them and shedding a light on them, so people in the community that may not have known them previously then would. And since I've been on the show, that's we've just continued to try to do that, and yeah, it's been great. So
Have you ever done shows before, Curtis, before this one? You guys' chemistry is excellent. I love it.
no, this was I mean, I'd been on a couple. I think I was on one of Jeremy's episodes before Shooting the Shelf, and I think I did a Legion's Lair and stuff, but I wasn't like on a show on a regular basis before joining Jesse.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I've been watching you guys for the last 2-3 months. That I've found the community and found the Cabal and found all the different shows. Because I was just watching random toy tubers here and there and different stuff, and I was like, no, I gotta focus. uh, so I found you guys, and uh, I have to say you guys are one of the inspirations for this show, Cosmic Connections, because we want to talk to the community. We want to highlight and show those who are a part of the community that we're out there, we're doing things.
Definitely a lot to you guys.
Oh,
that
inspirations for sure.
Yeah, that means a lot. I mean, every show, I mean, like you said, there's just a lot of content out there right now, and it's very difficult to watch it all. Although I do try my hardest. But I think every show brings something unique to the table, and you guys, doing the cosmic thing right now is something that was kind of an untapped resource. There's just not a lot of people really discussing it, so I think this is really cool, and I'm excited to see what happens with your channel.
Cool. Thank you.
yeah, I totally agree with that. I listened to the first episode today to make sure I was on board with how this all rolled out and everything. And
Thanks.
Friday just didn't work for me to get to listen, but getting to listen to it was really fun, and I'm excited to see where you guys go with this, and all the different stuff you're going to get into is going to be fun.
Yeah. we love sci-fi, so we're here to talk about that and cosmos. So
Cool. So you guys kind of actually tapped on our next question was what do you guys think of this Cosmic Connections type of show, and where do you see us going with it, and what tips and tricks do you have for us, since you guys been shooting the shelf for quite a while now?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you're already starting off on the right foot by giving something to the community that was kind of an opportunity. Something that really people, that it Cosmic has kind of been a backseat, which is understandable. I mean, Mythic's has been around for several years, and we've really got actually less than a year of Cosmic in our hands. So it's understandable that most of the focus in the community be towards the Mythic side, but doing a Cosmic show at first is just a good step in the right direction. And then I would say just having some folks on that are passionate about it as well, that really love the Cosmic. I know I've been listening to the Mythic Enablers podcast, and Eric has talked about how he really wasn't into sword and sorcery before he started collecting legions. Like he got into sword and sorcery because he loved what the Horsemen were doing, but his jam really has been space and Cosmic. And I mean, when you talk about creative people in the community, I mean, there's nobody better than Eric Miller. So,
absolutely.
He's
just
top on the list.
yeah. So, having folks like that on, and then, you've got to have a good mix of people that maybe, people don't know in the community, that you can kind of like we were talking about, shed some light on them and have them tell their story, as well as some people that are well known that can come on and share some things that they've done and what they hope for the line. And yeah, I just think you guys are set up for something unique that should be pretty cool.
Cool.
Thank
Cool.
you.
I'd say, you guys have a good rapport with each other, and that's, I think, a great place to start from. Like, as long as you guys get along and, you'll get the right guests. Guests are going to be who they are. So, wrenches may be thrown here and there. You never know. And, just kind of go with it. Someone used to say, like, don't go with the flow, don't wolf it up. Because flow backwards is anyway. I'm gesturing to the camera that isn't really a thing. But it just, for me, at the end of the day, it's just having fun. Like Curtis said, just getting to and like you guys talked in your first episode, genuinely getting to know and connect with people. It's the connections. It's not
100%.
it's not just the stuff. It's what you're getting out of it, what you're getting into each other, giving, sharing, all that stuff, which is, what the whole community is really about. So, and be prepared for technical problems.
Yeah.
You witnessed it.
One piece of advice that I would throw out to you guys: you got to figure out who the jerk's going to be. Okay. Because there's always one nice guy and one jerk. And for me and Jesse, it was super easy. Like, Jesse was so nice that it was like I had to be the jerk. I had to develop into the person that you see on the show every week. For you guys, I mean, I've spent a little time with both of you, and you're both super nice. So it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult. I don't know if you're going to flip a coin, rock, paper, scissors, but somebody's going to have to figure it out and
need a counterpoint.
roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too sweet.
Don't put that on me. That was your own choice. No, you guys.
Everything gets put on Jesse.
Yeah, whatever you want to be. Like I have my moments in whatever direction you want to go. But yeah, like, just have fun with it. And, the more genuine and sincere you are, whichever way you want to play it, I think the more you're actually going to connect with people.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to hear Curtis has two sides of the coin whenever I talk to somebody. So,
but we're not supposed to talk about the other side.
Yeah,
we're not. Yeah, no, we don't talk about
it's there.
The soft side.
Keep the illusion alive.
There you go.
As long as there's not a camera in his face, it's there.
Yeah. Bad cop isn't as effective if they think that I'm occasionally good cop. So.
So the other thing that happened this morning was intern for a day raffle was pulled, and people were starting to post in the Cabals about them getting their emails from Jeremy. Thoughts on this?
Fun experience. I'm excited for everybody that got pulled. And I think it's going to even be in a, even more special one, like you said, with the double anniversary and Year of the Dragon. I think it's going to be a big one. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
Go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just gonna say I'm excited. Just interjecting.
I think I'm with Curtis. I think this is going to be. I mean, I think going any year is awesome. I think there might just be like, even if it's just the energy in the room at it being the anniversary years of stuff, I think is just going to be cool. But having done it before, getting to be there and in the room with everybody and doing the tours and all the different things they do, which I know Big Dub and Kent Pool like really did a good job of trying to like get a lot of those experiences shared out to people last year.
I love
It's
that. Yeah.
different. It's different being there. It's different being in those rooms, and seeing all that stuff. So I think I stoked for everybody that's going to get to go. It looks like I saw a bunch of people that are relatively newish names to me. So I think that's really cool. That there's a lot of new folks that are going to get to be experiencing this for the first time. I don't know. Did Amber get in?
she did.
He did.
I don't know
She
if
was
I'm
gonna
supposed
be
to,
there.
I don't know if I'm supposed to mention that, but yeah, she's going to be there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Raise of hands who has gone to intern for a day before. Okay, so 2 out of 4. And can I spill the beans, Greg?
Of course.
So Greg was pulled. he is
Ooh,
going.
congrats.
He is
Thank you.
going to intern for a day. Um, our connection was made a lot longer in our travel. So he has a buddy that he's going to be going with, and he's already said that he's going to represent this show and his new to Mythics when that becomes.
Awesome.
So anybody else anybody else want to divulge that they got it? No. Okay, so Curtis and Greg got
Curtis
it.
made a phone call.
no, I got my name pulled. It was
I'm
awesome.
teasing.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm just excited.
last year I was Kent Pool. I was his guest last year. So
Nice.
this year I got my name pulled and I am over the moon. It's gonna be awesome.
Are you taking Ken or are you taking Darla?
No, Ken is actually going with somebody else. So I will be taking my wife and we'll be having a great time.
Good man. Good man.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just excited to go. I'm a goober, a fan of the team, and just to be there where they work every day, and to see them in their element, and just soak it up. I'm just excited about that. See all of them again. That's
You're gonna have such a good time. You're gonna get, I mean, depending on like who you're hanging out with, you get broken down into groups and stuff. Like that little pod of people you're with for the day, like you're gonna make some good, not to keep using the name of your show, you're gonna make some good connections. You're gonna have some fun memories. And just, just take it in and enjoy it. It's gonna be amazing.
Is it random, or do they pick for you, or can you be like, hey, I want to hang out with Curtis, or I want to, how does that work?
So that when you first get there, they have like some like munchies in the morning, some like muffins and things like that.
Bagels, yeah.
Yeah, everybody just kind of gathers around, chats for a bit.
The very
and then
tri-state area kind of thing.
yeah, and then they gather you all into one room, and then they split. They basically have everybody split into four groups, four groups, one in the front right of the room, one in the front left of the room, and then back right, back left. So yeah, you basically take whoever you're there with, and you just pick a group that you're going to go to, and they just ask you guys try to keep it even, don't overload one group, and so once you've split up into those four groups, then they just take you to one of the stations, and then you kind of rotate and go from there. So
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing people's experiences, especially with it being an anniversary year.
Right.
It's going to be some crazy surprises, probably even there.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was cool when the the year I went in 22, we got to see some like Nate Barch art as he was. Well, my Arachagor just dove off the shelf.
Whoa,
Nice.
just did a swan dive. Or
Yeah.
Like,
dragon dive.
wait, you're talking about cosmics? What
How's
about
the show?
mythics?
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Is he okay?
Yeah, the whole shelf, I guess, I don't know. It's warm here, so maybe his joints, I mean, he looks
yeah.
fine. He landed on my gator clips of custom heads I was painting. So
Oh boy.
perfect landing. I don't know what I was gonna say.
You're talking about, we were talking about the intern for the day and some surprises.
Some surprises. So we got to see like Nate Barch, some like rough sketches he was working on for
That's
the
awesome.
cosmic boxes before they had, while he was still developing them. And
Wow.
I feel like one of the suggestions I made, he's like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." He put it in there, and it ended up in the packaging. I'm not taking
Wow.
credit for it, but like that conversation did happen, and it is in the box on one of them. So
That's
Yeah.
madness.
Just
Which
a
one
fan
was
of
it?
all their talent. I mean, Sherry.
I mean,
and
it's kind of like
everybody.
saying put some slime on the thing. Oh yeah, that's a thing that should have slime. So it wasn't like some genius idea, but
But
I'm sorry, I totally cut you
there's
off, Kurt.
there's a sculpting session with Treadaway, and one of the sculpts that he did during one of those interns actually made it into an actual figure. So you just never know the stuff that you're going to see or participate in an intern, could actually make it into the box or make it into the line. And yeah, it's just a really fun experience.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So cool. So cool. Well, I will be planning on going for GCon and the rest of the Mythic weekend, Legions weekend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person and
Likewise.
Yeah,
shoot,
it'll be fun.
shooting shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that brings us to shooting the shelf on Cosmic Connections. What do you guys think of the Cosmic line?
Have at it, Jesse.
No, you take this one first.
Okay. All right.
So gracious.
I'm very much into the cosmics. Right away when they first did the reveals, I was like, they're kind of cool, but I don't know, but I'm not gonna skip them because I came in so late into the mythic line that then you're trying to catch up, and it's not fun. So I was like, I'm going to get in on the ground floor, because no matter what I think about these, once I get them in hand, I'm sure they're going to be even better than what they look like on screen. And they absolutely were. Like, they blew me away. Getting them in hand and looking at them and playing with them, the amount of details that Eric put into those sculpts is just absolutely amazing. It's mind-blowing. I love the tusk. They're my favorite. So every one of the tusks that they do, I know they've done several repaints at this point of that tusk body, and I'm here for all of it, man. They can just do that. They could do a whole line of just repainting tusk, and I'm in for it.
I agree.
What I will say though is I think some people are sleeping on Cosmic, and I see a wake up call coming, because I think wave one, I think some people skipped on because you don't really know what it's going to be, and maybe they just weren't sure. They're into the sword and sorcery, whatever. I think they skipped wave one, and then the second wave came, and there was some major voices talking about QC concerns, the smell on Embira, some loose wrists on the Canox Vol, and some different things there, to where I think I think people kind of sleeping on them. And then this next wave that we got coming, the Outpost, it's a smaller wave. There's not a lot of figures, so I think some people may have skipped that as well. But I think when that Ox Crew comes, I think that people are going to see those things. I think they're going to play with somebody's, or they're going to be at a show and the Horsemen are going to put one in their hands and they're going to play with it. And they're going to go, holy crap, why did I miss this? And I think that's the jumping on point that you're going to see for a lot of people. So I know it's going to be a little bit before we get that Ox Crew, but I think that's the part where people are going to get in, and they're going to be slapping themselves for skipping out up until that point. So That's my personal feeling on it, but me, I'm all in. I love it. I've got a whole cosmic display separate from my mythics, and yeah, give me more. So
Wait, Jesse?
Um, I pretty much agree with everything Curtis said. I don't really have any, a whole lot of extra to add to that other than just my personal take on it. I think the cosmics are really cool. I am definitely, you said you're Jeff that you're, cosmic mythic then Figura. I'm probably mythic Figura cosmic. Because I'm all in on the Figura every time they come out for sure.
Yeah.
But the cosmic they're really cool, and I am kind of in board with what Curtis said. Like I'm an example of that because like the wave one, wave two, and Outpost Axius, or book one, book two, and Outpost Axius were, I'm like, those are a lot of cool figures. I've gotten most of them. I've done some customs with some of them, but it's the Ox Crew wave is the one where like the story hooked me because prison stories don't tend to like get my interest a lot, and I know sometimes you have to do that to get elsewhere. So seeing where those characters go from book one and two, I'm intrigued to see. But the Ox Crew, that kind of like family crew exploring lost in space kind of concept, like I'm really digging that. Like that's a thing for me to latch onto those characters and really dive into the rest of the world. So, but just the design and the sculpt, like Chris was saying, the sculpts on these are insane. Like you look at what like the Mythic Kickstarter wave one, granted, and we're talking 10 plus years in the past when they sculpted these to what he was working with when he sculpted these is night and day. But that Tusk body is kind of like the cosmic 1.0 night body, right? It's kind of like the
Right.
base thing that they've started with. And the amount of details on that is like they cranked it to 11,000 compared to the mythics. To the point where I won't do a lot of custom on Cosmic just because there is so much to paint and I'm too impatient to spend the time that it takes to fully do a lot of the Cosmic customs. And that's me being lazy, not the toys being not cool. Like I have ideas, things I want to do. It's just like, man, I know like if I do this peg over here, I got to do the one on the other side. And it's
yeah, but
they're
the cool thing about that is though, there's so many details that you can pick and choose which ones you choose
oh
to paint,
Right.
and
yeah.
it gives you unlimited different options with that same body because of what you choose to color in or don't color in.
Yeah, that it's almost like, oh, okay, here's a Taco Bell menu. You get 12 ingredients, you can mix it around whatever, as opposed to like going to Mexico and getting real Mexican food. And it's just like, whoa, I didn't know all these options were even possible, even though a lot of it's similar thing. It's just
Interesting analogy.
Yeah.
I think with the cosmics though too is that in a way they're competing for the same money against mythics. It's like you go to a convention and you see, there's the mythics and then there's the cosmics. A lot of us, you have to choose. It's like, are you going to, buy all these mythics, or are you going to do
Yeah. Do
cosmic?
we know?
I mean, I'm just saying. So I think that might be an issue with, like they're competing against themselves because they're both fantastic lines, but you know,
I wouldn't say they're competing. They're options. Like
they're
straight
competing for your dollars.
competing for
I,
dollars. Okay.
I will say for me, they're not competing. For me, what they did was they made me shut down other toy lines that I wanted to collect
Yes,
or I was collecting.
100%. Yeah.
So like when I spent $1 on Cosmic, that's not $1 I didn't spend on Mythic. That's $1 that I didn't spend on Marvel Legends, or I didn't spend on McFarlane, or I didn't spend on Mondo, which was one of my favorite lines before I got into Mythic Legions. So I at some point you're right, people have, whether they have a budget or they just have whatever disposable income they've got, and that's going to run out. So yeah, I mean, some point you're right. But I think that what I've seen from a lot of folks is it just given them so many options from Four Horsemen that there's no reason to collect anything but Four Horsemen.
Right.
So, yeah.
But does it hurt the line though? If you're buying Mythic and not Cosmic?
No.
It's just a personal preference. I think more people are doing it because it's just not their thing than because of, dollars. Yeah, that's just my opinion, but that's what I think.
And Mythic says, Mythic Legions has a 10-year, um, what's the word?
Track record.
Track record. Yes. So you've got so many people invested. One,
Mhm.
more people that want to, go back and get stuff because there's been so much of it.
Mhm.
And three, they're just into sword and sorcery, so they go more mythic side than cosmic.
I think you need to bookmark this episode, this conversation, and come back to it in 8 to 10 years
Yeah.
Mhm.
and see how rare because I guarantee you, I don't guarantee you because I don't know. Pretty sure the cosmic production numbers were higher than the mythic production numbers for wave one of each one. I don't have any inside information, just
Mhm.
based on the growth of the company, they were probably able to produce more beyond the initial pre-order, I would guess, because more people are aware of their lines in general by the time that Cosmic stuff was coming out. So there's probably an uptick in Cosmic 1 compared to Mythic 1. But I would not be surprised in 8 to 10 years when we're kind of where we're at with Mythic now with Cosmic, that these Thygar figures or Vorga or some of these other ones are going to be super hot, commanding
I agree. Yeah,
some
I agree
pretty
with you on
juicy
that.
prices.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Jesse, if you look at like, wave one of Mythic versus wave one of Cosmic, the other thing is that they're far enough into their experience with their own toy line now that they were
Mhm.
able to throw all kinds of tooling towards Cosmic One. Like if
Yep.
you look at Mythic One, and it's a lot of the same tooling, just mixed and matched with maybe a unique head here and there, but it's a lot of the same stuff. Cosmic One, I mean, hell, look at Slog. Like there's nothing, they've never done anything like that. Like that thing is just so unique.
I love Slug.
Yeah, and that I don't think that happens without the success of Mythic. So if anything, I think
Right.
Mythic has helped Cosmic.
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
yeah, and once we get to that Ox Crew, I mean, look at that Ox Crew wave, like the space suits, that like alien on all four legs, the lizard, like there's some stuff in there that like has never been done. And I think it's so unique, that yeah, I think once that one gets in hand, people are gonna be like, holy crap, like this thing is this something. And I think the other thing with what Jesse said, 8 to 10 years from now, I think Cosmic Connections is going to be that go-to spot for everybody Cosmic. When all these, you got 6,000 people in the Cosmic Cabal, and they're like, where's the go-to show? This is it right here, Cosmic Connections.
I'll
And
put money on that.
Yep.
and
Thank
in
you. Thank you. Thank you.
so speaking of bookmarking, 8 to 10 years, we have you back on and we have this conversation over again.
Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
They'll be too big for us. They'll be like, nah,
No,
sorry guys.
nah.
You know.
Remember the little
The only
people.
reason I'm going to be too big is if I don't fit on camera because I've eaten too much cheese. I want to add one more thing onto that. Chris was talking about Mythic One and Cosmic. We were all just talking about that. Mythic One was hand sculpted.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so just if you think about how far they've come in the 10 years or the 8 years or what is from Mythic One to Cosmic One actually getting, going into production, how much more those leaps are going to be between what they're able to do now and Eric's able to sculpt now to 8-10 years
Right.
from now, what that cosmic stuff is going to be like.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like different ballpark stuff at that point.
And we're all reaping the benefits of it,
Mhm.
of their mastery.
I'm of the proponent of 3D printing, 3D printing hobbyist, or more 3D printing hard surface and less, organic sculpts and stuff like that. But I see them using more new technologies as they come up too. Speaking of going from, hand sculpting to digital sculpting, and there's 3D scanning is getting even better every day, so they can scan more and more stuff and turn it into products and things. So that's
Yeah.
I definitely believe.
Well,
I mean,
and just that, I mean, they're adding new talent in the studio too, and not only adding but cultivating talent.
Yeah.
To where you bring in, 10 years ago, Cameron wasn't there. He wasn't working on this stuff. You bring Cameron in, and he starts painting on it. And then, you bring Joe in as a part-time shipping employee, and then he becomes full-time, and then he starts painting. And I mean, heck, look at that red jet that's getting ready to come out in that Outpost Axia wave.
That.
One of the most beautiful figures they've ever done. And that's painted by a guy that they brought in to do some extra part-time shipping help.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, he had some great artistic ability. He was already doing customs. He was really excited that he took that job because he loved the toys. He loved the line. But they're adding these people in there. So I mean, you look at that 8-10 years down the road, there's no way that Eric's doing all these sculpts by himself. So who is that person that they're working on now that's going to be helping to make this stuff as we get further down these lines? And one of, just going back to the intern thing, like that's what's so great about going to the studio and spending that time with them, because it is such a great work atmosphere. I know people that say that they, love their job, but that is really a job where you go there and it is 2 days. When they host intern, it's 2 days before the biggest convention that they do all year. And you would expect them to be just stressed out to the max and just like really short fuse and all this kind of stuff. It is the complete opposite, man. They're so generous with their time and just happy to be there. And they truly love working there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just amazing to see in that environment, them, cultivating that talent and then it paying off with the figures that we're able to get.
Yeah. You expect them to be set up Jesse, but they're actually set up Curtis.
Yeah. Where they've already got the stuff done and they're just chilling. They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
It's the power of being in the toy industry. I've done a lot of research, and I'm going for my master's to start, a toy-esque business. And I've learned the processes, and, they plan years ahead. So like what they have planned for this year could have been planned last year, or a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago. It's amazing the way things are planned out in that industry.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the Canox Vol. I mean, Eric had it in a notebook since he was 12. So
yeah,
it's just there's a little forward thinking on that one.
I love that story. That's so cool.
Yeah, those stories said at Toylanta. Those are my favorite stories now that I play back in my head, and either Tanya's or Billy Beige's recording of it.
That Tusk Pilot though is beautiful. It's like
so good.
Ferrari an action figure. I love it.
So speaking of that,
can't wait to get it.
So we touched on Cosmic, and let's go ahead and talk about Outpost Axios, because we did get a shipping update and they said production is complete. When they were showing the grid, mysteries and mythos in the shipping update. So what thoughts, anticipations, wants from Outpost Axios?
Curtis isn't talking, so I'm assuming he's waiting for me
I'm
to
like,
go.
I don't want to start every time. People are going to think I'm running this thing.
Greg,
did you want to go, Greg?
I think I was lucky enough to trade with my buddy Matt to get the operative a while ago. I wasn't really interested much, but I'm like, I'll try it. But the colors, like the color of this picture doesn't really reflect like how beautiful the colors are of that figure. And like I said, the Tusk Pilot, I'm Team Curtis on that. Yeah, show him, Curtis. Show him what you got.
I don't know if it's going to show
him what you're working with.
I was just looking at it myself, but man, it's
the colors are just
so good.
The pearls.
Yeah, like it just jumps out of the box, literally. The Tusk Pilot, like I said before, I'm Team Curtis on that. I love the Tusks, everything that they do, because I think the design, the engineering of the figure is so damn good that it's like, you've got a great base body, whether it's female or male, that they can do so much with it, so I look forward to attachments and things that they can add hopefully some different helmets, different heads and things like that. So I'm stoked for that. I was listening to what, I'm not sure if it was the enablers or who it was that was talking about Scourge, that they were kind of disappointed, like they weren't as excited to see Arakagor because they got Scourge already. I don't know if you guys had seen that or spoke on that, but I think that body is phenomenal. The head and just all the sculpting of the scales. I don't know. I'm excited for this wave. And you know, Callian Shun is that's a Thrace head sculpt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Everyone is a banger, I think. I'm down for it. All right, Curtis or Jesse.
Go ahead, Jesse.
All right, I'm excited for this wave. The thing I'm most excited for is Kalian and the Sphexian Mine Worker. I do love the colors on the Tusk Pilot and all of them, to be honest. And yeah, Cosmic, and this is in no way trash and Trevor's photography. It's just something about seeing them in hand in the lighting you're used to.
Yes.
That just, I mean, he's taken pictures, you know, there's a lot of reflections just because of the materials and stuff, but seeing them in person like that Tusk Pilot's probably going to blow me away more than I expect to. But I love the Sphexians. I think the designs of those are really cool.
Super cool.
And that new face with like kind of the open mandibles and like the more exposed mouth, I think is really cool. I love the colors on all of these characters. The soft goods are cool. And I think Scourge was a good, getting him at PowerCon was a good like appetizer for Arakagor, because I think as cool as Scourge is as the build and the figure itself, the colorway they did on Arakagor just blows Scourge away as far as
I agree.
I mean, because I know he's meant to look like Whiplash, and usually the PowerCon debut figures do have like a different level in color contrast compared to the rest of the lines, especially in the Mythic stuff. But I mean, I think they're both amazing figures. It's my Scourge has not fallen over yet, but my Arakagor has. But no,
maybe Scourge pushed him.
I think they're on different shelves.
Okay.
But no, I think this is a fun wave. I like how I like the story. So we spent the first two books on, you know, a Valkatar, the prison, and then we just come to this outpost, and it's kind of like that slice of life, you know, the cantina, and you're just kind of seeing 5 different stories or 6 different stories going around. And yeah, I'm really intrigued to see like the more world building they do as they move into different storylines and things.
My take on this was, or I've gone back and forth. My take is like we're reusing sculpts and we're reusing tooling, but in more new ways and more different paints and more add-ons and stuff like that. But the Operative 83, the moment I saw him, he was my second choice for Cosmics now, and because I started with Cosmic Voltor, it's going to be Cosmic Voltor hanging out with Operative 83. And then once Fisher Rice and the Shadow Circle come in, it's going to be, you know, hell of a time. The alt head for the Operative 83 is a painted Vampire Phalanx. And I got a Vampire Phalanx in the ISS, the in-stock sale, and I want to make space vampires. So I know Curtis is all about the space orcs. I'm going space vamps.
I think what you meant to say is orcs in space.
It's pronounced sporks.
So for me with this, I absolutely do love the Operative 83. I could not wait for it. I didn't go to PowerCon, but I had to, you know, I had to have a good friend pick me up one because there was no way I could go without that. I think it's the absolute best Motu tribute figure that they've done. And as much as you know, I know people kind of complain sometimes about the Motu tributes in Mythic because the bright colors just kind of stand out. I think in Cosmic it works completely. And when they put this Operative 83 out, like, not only do I think it's the best Motu tribute they've done, I think it's the best version of Manny Faces that we've gotten in any Motu line.
Wow.
It's so good. And the funny thing about it is, never when I saw that Tusk body or the Science Officer or any of that did I go, oh, that's a Manny Faces body. But when they paint it, and then it's like, oh crap, like these details like look like they were made specifically for a Manny Faces tribute. It's so good. I absolutely love that I have that figure. The pilot, I'm super excited for. I love the colors that Joe put on there. He absolutely killed it with that. I love the different options as far as like taking that, that torso piece off and some different looks that you can get with that. So yeah, really excited about that one. The Scourge, I'm not a big fan of. The Ragnar is one of my least favorite characters because he always falls down. I can't get him to pose right. He's just super top heavy. But that said, when I got a Rakagor because of the tail, it helps him. So Scourge may be better for that because he's got the tail. But I do wish that I would have had Scourge before Rakagor because I think the paint job on a Rakagor is just so much better. So getting Scourge after the fact is going to be kind of a letdown, in my opinion. Kalian and the gray, I'm excited for both of those. I'm not over the moon, but I think those will be good additions to the collection. And then the Sphexian Mine Worker, I had like zero interest in. Like I'm not a big fan of the bugs anyway, and I just feel like the paint apps don't speak to me. But I also think that it has all the makings of one of those ones that I'm going to get in hand and go, yeah, you were stupid and you should have ordered more of these. Like he has, like, it is just screaming, you messed up. And I hope that that's correct. I hope that I get it in hand and I go, man, I was dumb. But right now it's not doing anything for me. So
does that figure have wings also?
Yes.
No, but
No,
it's got
no, that's right.
Oh no,
It's
it
got
does.
arms.
It does have wings.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because there's two different types of mine workers.
Oh yeah, with the different head
Yeah.
sculpts because it's got two heads.
They're white with like pink, translucent pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with Curtis.
They've said numerous times like it looks like it's just a based out black body, but they said there's like some different like metallic sheen and some different things in there that you really don't notice until you have it up close. So like I said, I think that's one where I'm not expecting to like it, but I would not be surprised because there's been numerous ones over the years where I'm going to get it in hand and go, yep, you're dumb. So
that's upside. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Edgar.
I was going to say that's kind of an upside of going to a con too, is that at ZoloCon, they had the Spexian up, they'd open it and, had his wings spread out and it was just like the light was catching it. And I was just like, whoa.
You know what? I try to avoid that at all cost. like when they've got that stuff up now, like G-Con, when they do the G-Con and they've got like the prototypes and stuff, I'll look at those. But once they start getting like the closer to finished products and they've got them at the shows, I try not to look at them at all because I want to wait till I get it open and in my hand and all that kind of stuff. So it's like when you try to avoid trailers for
spoilers.
A movie, because you don't want any. Yeah, that's how I am with these products. So even like when they start showing this stuff on like 4 Horsemen-ish o'clock, I'm like, boop, I turn it off because I'm like, I don't want to see it. I want to wait. So
I think one of my like big first customs will be something with Scourge because I've been hearing a lot about with like Euro Legions and a lot of customizers in the community that they don't want to touch Rakagor, but since Scourge is that Motu tribute, poppy color, flat, not a whole lot of wash, not a whole lot of blends, that it's going to be a nice customizing base for a lot of things.
I do like that Scourge, the alternate head they have for it. I think it makes it look a lot better. I think it's a better Motu tribute with the alternate head.
Yeah.
And I think it helps to distinguish it from Rakagor because my big problem when that came out was like, okay, you've got these two different races and one is in Mythic, one is in Cosmic. These are two different complete entities, different worlds, and they look the exact same other than color, and it just bugged the heck out of me. But I think you put that other head on there, the Kragnar type head, and now it feels more cosmic-y to me. It feels more separated from the Rakagor, and I don't know, it doesn't bother me as much. So
Yeah, one Scourge is definitely gonna be not Scourge. It's gonna be more Kragnar species, and then for me, and then the other Scourge, or 2 or 3 or 4 Scourges that I get, will be for customs.
I love that. Was it a Scourge that Eric Miller painted with those pastel kind of colors?
He did Figment, yeah,
Figment,
like
yeah.
from Epcot.
Yeah, beautiful figure. He definitely improved it.
yeah, for me, this head that you see pictured here on Scourge will never be used. That's going right in the bin, and yeah, that's done. So
Take it to the swap thing that they're having at Legion's Con this year.
That's gonna be some good fodder.
mhm.
So yeah, that's Zaxius. I mean, you guys have seen waves come, and you've seen them change in different steps. Being that the production has completed, is this like an August or September drop, or?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know the gap between production ending and to being on the water. But like I'm pretty sure they had expected this by was it the end of second quarter?
Yeah.
No idea.
Before I
Or
would be
mid.
surprised if these are not shipping to us by, based on what I've seen them say, unless something got delayed. It seemed like they were thinking maybe these might start shipping to people or shipping in June. I don't know if that means shipping from the factory or shipping to us. But it usually takes 4 to 6 weeks for shipping unless there's a delay like across the water.
Yeah.
I think
try
we'll
not to
have
be
these.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I would be surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting these before July, or at least some people start getting them before July.
Cool.
Yeah, I try not to be a clock watcher with this stuff. I mean, once you're on the pre-order train with Mythic and Cosmic Legions, it shows up when it shows up, and when it gets there, it's like that's my mystery box. My mystery box is, when is it going to get there? And when it gets there, it's going to be fun. So yeah, I don't keep up with all that shipping stuff, and even when they do have updates, I don't even really pay attention to it, because a lot of that stuff can be subject to change. I mean, you could have something that's planning on coming in and it gets stuck at the port for who knows how long. So yeah, it'll be here when it's here, and when it gets here, it'll be amazing.
I wish everyone had that mentality.
I'll add this real quick. Just looking at their site, the Outpost Zaxius, it says this wave production is now completed. It will be shipping from our factory in the coming weeks, and I believe this was last week when they updated this.
Right.
Expected delivery date for pre-orders coming soon. So, it'll take a couple weeks for them to ship everything out, and then the retailers will probably be getting theirs during that, and then street date will be for retailers will be shortly after that. So,
cool.
So summer.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
I might just buy the whole wave retail, because I of course missed the pre-order train.
Here's me putting my Curtis conspiracy hat on. So we just had the largest ISS sale that we've had in a long time, probably since Exodus, where they put a bunch of stuff on there we did not expect to be on there, and really working hard to clear out room in the warehouse. Now they just announced this Mysteries of Mythos, where they said they went searching the warehouse and found these figures they didn't even know they had, and they're going to partner them up with these other figures from older waves. They're once again clearing out more room in the warehouse. Something big's coming. I don't know what it is, but I mean, Outpost Zaxius is 6 figures. like I said, I don't know that it was ordered super heavy. I mean, even Jeremy said it was one of the lesser ordered waves just because it's smaller. It's kind of that in between wave. It's using some retooling. Something big's coming. So just be aware, because you don't make all that space in the warehouse for no reason.
True.
So
I hope so. I'm excited for whatever's coming. Whatever they got planned, I'll take it.
Crazy 2024.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's Outpost Axios. But we have had some great the first two waves of weapons packs, and then the Ox Crew Book 1 will be having the skate back and the campsite accessories pack. What are you guys looking forward to in coming waves, and not speculate but anticipate?
Well, I'll kick it off with this one. I think that accessory pack there, the equipment and stuff, I think is a huge game changer for Horsemen in general, not just Cosmic, because I think that got attention of a lot of different folks in the community, toy photographers, collectors of other lines. That they look at this at the 1/12 scale and they're like, man, that can really work with a lot of different stuff. And you guys know as well as I do, if you take somebody that's never collected Cosmic or Mythic and all of a sudden you give them one of these toys in their hand, it's game over, man. So all you need to do is find that one piece that just brings them in and makes them willing to test it out, and then it's it for there. So I think that is going to be one of those pieces that people are going to get in hand. They're going to be like, oh crap, like I'm all in on this now. So
I hope this is a precursor for things to come. I hope that they do start, looking at, play sets, mini play sets, things that go with the figures, like, for your displays or whatever, photography and things like that. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing more of this type of thing. Like, we just got all the magic effects in Poxus.
Yeah.
We got the little bottles and stuff to go on their belts, and we've been getting hands packs and belts packs, and they're starting to hit us with a lot of these extras. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
When you say like what are you asked about, what are we looking forward to, like the things that have already been announced or what we might see down the road? I miss
What
I don't
you
think I
might see
processed
down the road.
what we might see down the road. Um, I think more stuff like this. I think I wouldn't be surprised if we see something in or I keep saying that it would be cool to see something like, like open chrysalis for, what the Sphexians come out of or something, or, maybe like organic or even like techno organic stuff where it's like a blending of, you know, nature and technology and stuff. I think could be really fun. I think it'd be cool to see, so this is the low landscape back. Maybe we'll see ones that have different color. Maybe we get like an ice, like an ice ridge skate back or something where it's got more of the icy hues and like the spikes coming off it are more like jagged, ice things instead of these more natural looking spines or something, or grassy colors or something, or more just random weird creatures like this. And Yeah, I know, listening to your episode 1 and talking about how like unlimited cosmic stuff can be because of, the vastness of sci-fi things. Uh, you know, as much as I love the mythic and stuff, there is a limit. There is some rules you have to constrain to with some, fantasy stuff, but with the cosmic, it is virtually endless to whatever you can come up with. So I think we keep seeing more weird stuff like Uka and uh these power suits that the Ox crew are wearing is just amazing. Just yeah. And like Chris was saying, that the belts packs and stuff, just these little things so now you can take some of these belts packs and these accessories like the potions and the bottles and the skulls and stuff, You can go back and you can dress up your earlier Mythic Legions from older waves and like bring them into kind of the more newer design aesthetic with some of these little bits and pieces or something. So, and that's the great thing about their whole pop and swap system of, you know, the port sizes and everything is, you know, you really like Zarya. Well, with some of the new 2.0 stuff coming out in, you know, Mythic and Cosmic stuff, you can update her, but we're talking Cosmic. So, you know,
You do both.
I'd love to see, I would love to see the Ox crew. I don't know if we need a whole wave of them out of their suits, but if something to where we could see them in like they're more, you know, like their ship attire, like when you see the crew and Aliens and Nostromo walking around, they got like their tank tops and their
Yep.
coverall pants and stuff, like something like that you could set up their power suits on the side, like they're out of it and they're just like in their work clothes or whatever.
I want those as like version 2s.
Yeah.
Like that would be like a different timeline, like or a different part in time. So that would be a version 2 kind of thing.
Yeah. And like they're between the Mythic and the Cosmic, you've got like the bear skin, you know, the skin parts where they could be kind of like a like spandex type suit, or they have the fabric goods now for both
Yep.
1 and 2.0 sizes. So like it'd be real easy to flesh that out and just throw some cosmic flair on the like the belt pieces or whatever.
Yeah, speaking of belt packs, I'm looking forward to, or I want a cosmic belt pack that's like all different types of belts based off of that Tusk belt and stuff.
Mm.
Or different like that Grave Knight that's going to be also on the pilot, that chess piece and stuff. Those are things that I'm looking forward to, like building out different characters and different ways of looking at the story.
Jeff, are you able to like embiggen me on the screen there?
I am not.
Or take down the slideshow for a second. Are you able to
Oh
do
yeah,
that?
yeah. I can unshare.
If it's too much trouble, that's fine. I've got something to show. All right. Are you guys able to see me on the big part now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So sometimes I think in order to look forward, you have to look back. And I think if you want to know what the Horsemen are going to do with Cosmic, you just got to look at some of the stuff that they've done in the past. So like this is a figure that they did with McFarlane. You know, there's all these tubes, and there's like the way that the legs bend is very like mech suit robotic. It's got like these bendy fingers, like robot fingers and stuff. Like these are things that I could definitely see them kind of incorporating into Cosmic Legions. And then Jesse was talking about kind of a mix of like, you know, like cybernetic parts and you know, like organic parts. You know, this war zone here, this like basically a warthog with like all these robot parts and missiles and guns, and this is the kind of stuff that I think we could see more of. Just like crazy off the wall, ridiculous stuff. And they've already done this kind of thing. So I think I really do think that Eric's been really tame so far. I think he's been holding back with Cosmic Legions and trying to get some of the basic builds and pieces and stuff out there. But this crazy stuff's coming, and that's what I'm expecting. So just FYI.
I do. Can I throw out one more thing, Jeff, before?
Oh yeah. I'm just
sorry.
exhaling because the things that are going through my head now, seeing the past and now like the future.
Oh yeah. With what they've done with the soft goods, especially when they started working with C. Jessima on the Mythic stuff, is fantastic.
Yeah.
And like I said, Mythic is where my heart is for a lot of this stuff. But the new soft goods that they've started doing already with the Cosmic, Kalian Shun's her poncho, I think is already next level from Ziri's poncho. In hood set. I think I am blown away by the jacket, like the duster jacket on Kern Ray.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the details on that, the way they got the stitching and, you know, the little, I think they even have like the brand tag on something, you know, like we would have like the Levi's 501, like on the side pocket on the jacket, like just the things they're doing with the soft goods. I can't wait for them to get into maybe we get to see some, I don't know what it's called. I don't think, is it called the Imperium? Or there's something that sounds very Empire-esque in Cosmic. I can't remember what it's called.
The Tusk.
What, no. Like the more like the ruling, like the Tusk is like it's like the center world or
Yeah, it's one of their
what
factions that they have.
I feel like it'd be one of the things that's more mythic like and like seeing more like gowns and robe type of things.
Oh,
You know, or kind of like the, you know, the Senate in Star Wars. I
yeah.
can't wait to see them make, I don't need like entire waves of super fancy dressed, you know, like senators, but some of the soft good things they could do in that style with like, you know, color transitions, you know, just thinking of like, you know, Queen Amidala's outfits and stuff. I think there could be some of those types of things that make it into Cosmic for some, you know, higher up, you know, really rich, fancy people or whatever in the galaxy.
Yeah, Regal Galley.
You know, would be really cool.
Yeah, I so hardly see that, especially with the two grays and their long robes and hoods and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
do a nice like color fade and you got a dress.
Yeah.
All right, so that is where we're at with accessories and the future of Cosmic. Sci-fi talk time. So this is the portion of the show where we make those connections. We go beyond Cosmic Legions and we talk about anything and everything uh, sci-fi related. That being TV shows that we're into, or we want to tell people about movies, comic books, and even in the first episode 0, we even said music. Sci-fi music played a big part in my growing up. I even consider Holt's The Planets as sci-fi music. But yeah, what are your guys' takes on sci-fi? Go ahead.
I'll jump in. Like I've always somewhat like sci-fi, but I had kind of a disconnect growing up, just because it was so out there that it was hard for me to be fully immersed in it because I couldn't put myself in that position. Like it didn't make sense until I saw Last Starfighter.
Nice.
Great movie.
That is my jam. Like that's the that was the one that opened the door to sci-fi to me, because it's like, here's this kid, he's just playing video games, has an annoying little brother. Like I can totally relate to this guy. Like this is me. Like I can totally understand this kid. And next thing you know, he's recruited to the Star League, and he's now out in outer space, and he's flying a spaceship and dealing with all these aliens. And it's like, okay, so it was that mix of the two. And so I know, there's a big faction of folks out there that want, the keep the humans out of sci-fi, out of the cosmic and all this kind of stuff. I love the human connection in science fiction because I feel like it gives us a grounding point, that allows us to really kind of put ourselves in it. And that connection for me is very important, so that I can feel like I'm a part of that. So yeah, that's kind of, I always liked Star Wars and Star Trek and all this kind of stuff, but I never really felt fully immersed in it because of it's so grandiose. But that's what I loved about Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter is one of my very first sci-fi avenues, other than Tron. Those were like the 80s kids sci-fi. We talked about ET and of course Star Wars and Star Trek, but yeah, I mean, if you go into the behind the scenes of Last Starfighter, they were already planning on trying, or they did do the Last Starfighters in CG, digital, but they were also testing out how to do X-Wings at that time in computer generation. So it's all it's a genesis from Starfighter to say the Phantom Menace.
I or did you say Greg?
No, go ahead, Jeff.
Um, I didn't see Last Starfighter until last year on strong recommendation from Curtis, and I watched it. I enjoyed it, but my sci-fi story start. I mean, I was born in '79. I have three older brothers and an older sister, 9 to 14 years older than me. Um, so they were all into stuff. So like, I was born into a family that was already into Star Wars. So like they had the toys and stuff. The first movie I remember, like, I must have been 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old, walking in the theater to see E.T. Like I remember that experience. Like that's, like they say in Doctor Who, like fixed point in time. Like that's a keystone moment in my life, is that theater, seeing that movie. And I got home and I just started playing with my older brother's Star Wars toys, because that was the only spaceship I had at home, was the Millennium Falcon. It was the only thing close to ET ship that I could grab a hold of. So I was running around like, "Oh, ET's going home," and they're like, "No, that's the Millennium Falcon. You can't do that." I'm like, "No, it's ET's going home." um,
You
uh,
just use Yoda as ET, so to speak.
yeah. But
Not.
it's like I didn't even need ET. It was just the ship, because that was the way the movie ended, and that was like that last, moment in my mind, is that ship taking off. And
Big disc.
yeah, and it just, so sci-fi's always been there. I like fantasy too, because my oldest brother was into Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and we saw the cartoon and he had the books and all that jazz. But I didn't connect with fantasy as strongly until a little bit later. But sci-fi, I just always remember that being there. Um, and especially Star Wars. I mean, Tron came in later, even though it was out when I was a kid. I didn't see the full thing until I was much, much older. Um, but I think the elements of, like you were talking about last Cypher, it's a guy on Earth that goes out into space. Tron is a guy that's on Earth and he goes into the computers. Like they're very
Cyberspace.
opposite ends of sci-fi spectrum. You go smaller into the world we live in, or out into the bigger world of the galaxy and everything. Um, and it's just all over the place. I think, like you were saying in your episode 0, it can be horror, it can be comedy. Like Evolution, I think, is a hilarious, underrated sci-fi
One
movie.
of my favorites.
Hitchhiker's Guide, love or hate the movie. The movie's fun. I know it's
Yeah.
not as good as the book, but the movie's fun. Yeah, um, Alan Rickman doing the voice of Arthur and everything, and it's just that sighing door whenever the door closes. All that goofy stuff. Then you get horror stuff like, um, of course, like Alien and that whole series. The Predator stuff. Um, One of the most terrifying movies I've ever seen, Event Horizon. Um,
I recommend Life. Have you seen Life?
Life is good. Life is good. Life, in my opinion, should have been the prequel to Venom.
Yes. Yes.
I thought that would have been a really cool way to set up Venom and not know it was a Marvel movie.
People have tried to connect the two.
Yeah. But like it's all over the place. You get epic love stories, you get, just big galactic battles. I know it didn't get high ratings, but I thought Rebel Moon was fun. It's not a perfect movie, and I'm excited for part 2 later this week. Just to see where the rest of that story goes.
I have to jump in on that.
I'll agree with Curtis, less slow motion would definitely be cool. And then you get stuff like Fallout going on right now, which is sci-fi. So sci-fi is everywhere. And
Thought
last
on
thing I'll
thought on
Oh
slow
yeah.
motion. So I when I heard Curtis talking about the slow motion in Fallout, I don't know if it was brought up, but it's a probably Joe did say it because it was discussed on Offworld. Um, the slow motion that they did was in a feel that is actually in the game, because
he mentioned that.
Yeah, in the game, it like goes into this weird RPG mode where you choose where to shoot on the character you're versing. So it has to slow down for you to pick and choose where you want to shoot or cut.
Oh, okay.
So that's
which I get that, but my alternate take on that would be, you're also making this show for folks that haven't played the game.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with throwing some of those little Easter eggs in there for people. But maybe you don't have to make it, a 2 hour
20
slow-mo.
minutes. Yeah.
Maybe you make it a small section, and then so those people are going, oh cool, I like what they did. And then the people that are watching this and have no reference to the game go, thank you for not making that 2 hours long. So yeah.
And here I am. I didn't even remember there was slow-mo when we started talking about it. So like, but and the last thing I'll throw, I mean, because sci-fi is such a huge topic. I mean, I'm happy to come back anytime and talk more just off cosmic stuff. But I listen to a lot of this particular band, especially when I'm painting for Mythics, but they have a lot of stuff that also leans cosmic. It's called Two Steps from Hell. They're just an instrumental group. There's some vocals on some of the songs, but a lot of it just sounds like movie scores that are to movies that don't exist. It's just very epic, cinematic music, and they've got a few albums that definitely have a more sci-fi slant to the feeling of them and everything. And just movie soundtracks in general. I remember getting the box set of Star Wars, like the original trilogy with like a bonus disc of unreleased stuff or remastered stuff as like a graduation present from high school. And I still have that cool box that had like all 4 of the CDs in it and everything. And, where you can have stuff in Star Wars that's like, I don't want to say an offensive word, but what did they call the music in the cantina? It wasn't jazz, it was jizz. They called it jizz for some reason. And you've got that, and then you've got like the Ewok music, and then just the big John Williams epic score type stuff. So yeah, music is huge for sci-fi.
Great.
The first version, the special edition
yes.
changes, no.
I agree. Yeah, you keep Hayden Christensen in there, doesn't bother me at all. I know that's a whole fight we can pick on another show, but changing the Ewok, like at least start off with the Ewok celebration and transition into the bigger music, or vice versa, come from the bigger music into the more, keep that yub nub in there.
We're definitely going to have a Star Wars episode coming up for sure.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
We will have you back for Star Wars.
As long as you're not talking about Andor, bring Curtis back.
Yeah. And if you talk Last Starfighter, definitely bring me on.
We can do that.
Greg, anything new? Or I know you've been watching stuff, seeing stuff.
I went to see Civil War, and I thought it was an excellent movie. Alex Garland directed it. Alex Garland of Ex Machina, which is a high point in sci-fi films for me, I think. Did Annihilation. This movie is a little more grounded, a little more reality based. What might happen if there's a civil war that takes place again in America. But the cinematography is just unbelievable. I hope that it gets recognition for its cinematography at least. Great acting, just fantastic. Somebody had brought to my attention though that one of the actors in the movie played Pablo Escobar in Narcos, and I was just like, that's where I saw him from. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is. He's such a good actor in this, but I had no idea. He plays opposite Kirsten Dunst. But just a great movie. Edge of Your Seat ends a little abruptly. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler, but it's definitely worth going to see. It's an intense journey, road trip kind of movie, but worth seeing, definitely.
I am looking forward to that one.
You have to let me know what you think.
I certainly will.
So I'm 3 movies behind. I wanted to see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire first, and then Godzilla King Kong, and then Civil War. So I'm 3 movies behind in my movie experience out in the theaters. But I finished Fallout last night. I binged it all the way through, and it it definitely has a great starting off point, and it definitely, those who got to play the game and those who want to go get or go back and play the games, it's so enjoyable to see all the Easter eggs, and I watched it with my wife and I was like, hey, that's in the game, that's in the game, and she's like, how can all that be in the game? And I'm like, because it's an open world RPG and it's endless. Like I probably spent double, triple digits of hours playing that game. So it's so good. And then we've got the last season of Star Trek Discovery coming out in the coming weeks, and they're wrapping that up. I've only watched the second season of Star Trek Discovery because that was like a prequel season to Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is a prequel series to the original Star Trek, being Christopher Pike's captain of the Enterprise, and their discoveries and their journeys. So that's my sci-fi take. Oh, and I hit the button. So we're doing shooting the shelf gets shot. Surprise. Um, quick segue. We wanted to, being that we are, our show, your show is, showing the community what is possible with Cosmic Legions, Mythic Legions, Figura Obscura, customizing toys in general. I asked you both to give us some of your cosmic customs, and we wanted to showcase and get your takes and knowledge and inspirations. Where did you get your inspirations for some of them? So, shooting the shelf gets shot. So this is the first one. This is Curtis. Take it away.
Yeah, this is one of mine. So just basically took that science officer, and I wanted to add just some accent pieces, like I said, on these, that's normally all white, and you can kind of pick and choose what you decide that you wanted to paint. So I could have, hit, if like Jesse was saying before, if you hit every single detail on here, yeah, this is going to take you forever. So I just wanted to add like some black where you have that, like the inner thigh and around the knee, like you can see there's like the texture is almost like a tubing connection that would, like, you would connect like different parts of the armor together. So I just wanted to make that kind of stand out a little bit more. And then added some, Monkey King hands and feet, and then this space monkey head from Wolf King. And it just, try to create a new look, and I thought it came out pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great. I get kind of a stormtrooper vibe with the black underneath the white armor.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I had never seen this. I guess I didn't catch it in the Cabal or anything like that. I am working on doing an ape, like Planet of the Apes style tusk. I want to combine I think it's the pilot. I want to do a pilot with a Monkey King elements and stuff. So cool to have an inspiration pop up on my show. So this is one of Jesse's.
Yeah, so this was my most recent cosmic custom. I had originally painted the head just to go on a head rack for Wolf King, and then I was like, I've got two ASs, and I should have kept him. I'm gonna get another one just to have him again. But I was like, I wanna finish an Illithid mind flare, octopus space guy. So I, got him down. I gave him that gold staff from the Mythic Weapons pack. So that's basically just an IS with a cosmic or a Wolf King head. I did give him a different 2.0 waist piece and some of that fur just to make him feel like he fit more into mythics. But like the figure itself is mostly cosmic parts, and then the upper someone had given me this like fabric that just looks like kind of like shredded cheesecloth, and one of the shaws from Kylo Ren, just kind of to cap it off there. But Just wanted him to look like this really old, shriveled, like Mind Flayer that had been, he's not in his prime anymore, but like maybe he just got this staff and is like trying to reclaim some of his power or something. Um, and it was a pretty simple, pretty fun custom to do.
All the soft goods, the colors of the soft goods all kind of flow together and match well, I think.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's like the antagonist faction of the Greys. Like these guys are
Yeah.
going up against the Greys, and I'm like story building, just looking at them and stuff.
What's funny is like a lot of times when I do customs, like if I wanted to have soft goods, like I'm going out and like buying these like super expensive soft goods from overseas and all this kind of stuff. And then I'll see something Jesse did and it'll look amazing. And I'll be like, oh man, I love that. Where's the soft goods from? And he'll be like, oh, that was an old t-shirt I tore up or what, it's always like, yeah, it's always like something that he just
Hopefully not a
sitting
flannel.
around or and he makes it look fantastic. But I guess that's a talent in and of itself. So yeah, I think this is cool. I like that a lot.
I appreciate that, Curtis. And I will say one thing, because you put stuff, you like that more clean, crisp,
Yeah,
refined look.
mm-hmm.
I like stuff that looks like these guys just like woke up in the gutter and started, moving around. So that's why I can get away with my old t-shirt and socks as capes.
Yeah.
That's like the Star Wars world as opposed to the Star Trek world.
Yeah.
Everything's neat and clean for Star Trek, and Star Wars is kind of beat up, broke down, dusty, crusty.
Yeah.
That sounds like me.
He had one at Legions Con that I was admiring. And I'm like, where'd this come from? Where'd that come from? And he's like telling me like he used this body from another toy line. And I'm like, is that where the soft good? No, that was a t-shirt. And I'm like, man, whatever. I just want to like he makes this awesome thing. And it's just like just stuff around the house. So
yeah, make it work.
Yep.
I went through the trash can last night.
This one's mine. This is just really a head sculpt on an engineer. It's nothing spectacular here, but I did like how that came out, and got her in this fun little pose here, and that's pretty much it.
I just love that engineer body.
It's very universal. Is the green piece separate, or it's just painted separately?
On the like underneath the helmet.
Yeah.
That's all part of the head sculpt it's a Wolf King sculpt. So it's just a helmeted look for. They had at one point they had a like a mask that would go over that, but it didn't work. So when I did this one, I didn't use the mask, and I don't know if Len's re-engineered that or not, but I know the head as is right here is available on the Wolf King website.
Cool.
I had to look at this like 3 times when you pulled it up, and I've seen it before to like be like, where are those extra arms coming from? And it's just the angle you have it at with those side port guns just make it looks like she's got like the Shiva arms, like pulling out like a whole bunch of guns. This is really cool, and you put yourself down. That face paint is amazing.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Yeah.
Or head sculpt rather.
So now I want to take an engineer and turn her into a spiral, Marvel spiral.
Ooh.
With all the barbs.
Yeah.
One little note on this one. She actually had, sometimes you get these sculpts and it'll have just like a little air pocket or a little something, some sort of blemish on it. And she had that on her, like above her lip there. And so I ended up making it into just like a little freckle, a little, yeah. So
that's all. I thought it was a painted freckle.
That's what it ended up being.
Genius.
I ended up filling it in,
okay,
like with like liquid green stuff, and then I was like gonna sand it down. Then I was like, oh, what if I don't sand this down? What if I just like paint this and make this like a little beauty mark? So yeah.
Do you still have that pop and swap that you did, Curtis, with the female orc head, the green one?
I took it back apart.
Oh,
I don't think I sent it in the pictures here because I
I
didn't do any
love
painting
that.
on that one.
I love
So
that figure so much. That was the only like that's the only pop and swap I think I ever did. And I was taking a trip to New York to work, and I'm like, I'm gonna build that before I go. So I built my version,
yeah,
and I was just like so in love with that. So thank you for inspiring. I wish
absolutely.
you still had it. I'd be like, I would so buy that from you.
Well,
Was that it?
that head, that's from the female orc deluxe
Mm.
builder, and it's really a Juno head that they've repainted. So it doesn't like super look like an orc, and because of the design that they did on the side of the head, it looks very cosmic-y. So I think
Yes,
it fit in pretty well for that.
that was a great one. I love
Was
that
that
figure.
one of the first orcs in space?
I guess technically it was my first orc in space. I really didn't consider it that at that time, but yeah.
That's cool. Hit it, Jess.
Okay, so this came about I think after PowerCon in 22 when I got to I mean I didn't make it until last year but because it wasn't out yet, but um when I got to see the prototypes or the fine cuts or whatever they call them in person at PowerCon of these, and I was like, I want to make like was it a bullet ant? I can't remember,
Oh,
but it's like a black ant, and I just wanted to give it, like just bright red eyes, and I did a little bit of like kind of a dark metallic gold accent on it. And I was like, all right, what am I going to call this thing? And I looked up ergot something or other is like, like a wingless insect. So he didn't have any wings. And of course, I was starting the idea for this right around, or my idea was building to do this before they announced the Sphexian miners, the diggers with the ones that didn't have wings. But I just thought it would be cool that he had been like disgraced. Um, and it's essentially just um, the science officer body swapped out with some parts to make it fit the Sexian body type, and then just a block commander head and hands, and the all the little bits that make it asphyxian. Um, I just thought he's this like bounty hunter or assassin, and I just thought it would be fun to have this all black insect and the whole back, like the spine and the tail, which I don't think I have pictures of all of that. Uh, are all black to match it, but it just in that white armor would kind of be that off-putting, like if Darth Vader was wearing stormtrooper armor kind of vibe. And then the sword thing is one of the mythic weapons that I like trimmed the blade off and took. I think that was a Marvel Legends or some sort of blast effect from something, and just like glued it onto the top of that to make it look like some sort of like plasma blade or something.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is nice. I like how you put the little guns and the the little side hands.
I was just looking at that. I love
Yeah,
that.
I was like, I'm stealing that.
yeah, that's cool.
And I think this ended up in Mal Kennedy's collection.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm gonna talk to him then at Legion's kind of about it. Grace.
Yeah, this one. So that head there was actually sculpted by a good friend of ours, Emil Wickman. And I was just badgering the hell out of him to do Cosmic, and I really just wanted like a basic kind of trooper helmet, like something that you could army build. And so he came up with this one, and he actually named it after me. It's the CA Trooper for Curtis Akerman Trooper. And so when I got it in hand, I just kind of took a century and decided to figure out what kind of color scheme I wanted to do. And I was looking at like clone troopers and like the different like ranks of clone troopers and all that kind of stuff. And I just picked this color scheme out and then just kind of went with it. And this is what I came up with. And had a little like happy accident on the face mask there, where I tried to do like a mirrored paint and then it didn't work so well, and then I was trying to take it off and it kind of got like clumpy, and then when I was trying some different things, and I ended up with this like really like metallic sparkly reflective surface on it that I wasn't really trying to go for initially, and I like how it came out. So yeah, I was really happy with this one.
Yeah, super cool. I love the details, like the black on the belt and the little black accents, the green, super cool.
Well, and then even like the middle of the top of the torso there, there's like kind of a design that breaks off, and it doesn't actually make a T, but I made it into a T, like for Tusk. So it's just one of these things where you can take a look at this and you can choose, okay, I'm going to paint this detail and that detail, and I'm going to make all of the details that look like this color, and I'm going to make all these other ones that color. And but you can do this again, even if you use the same color scheme, by choosing to paint different parts. You can make it look completely different, even with the same colors. So that's what I love so much about the Tusk bodies.
Yeah, I like that you touched on ranks and stuff. Like you can make, just by changing colors, you're making a different rank. Or I really like that I found out that helmet is named off of you, because I saw the Bushati one that you did with the biker style custom. And I was hoping that was like a cosmic one that you wanted to throw up here, but
yeah, this is it's actually using, so when Emil did this head sculpt, he did two other versions of it. One that has like a half visor, and then the face is open, and then one that it's completely open and has the face in there. So that Bashadi one that you're talking about was actually the version of this that has the visor. So it is a cosmic head. But what I did was I dremeled all the details off of the side. So like all those like little gears and bits and stuff that are on there that make it cosmic looking. I dremeled it all down and smoothed it so it looked more like a motorcycle helmet. But yeah, it's a cool sculpt. Emil is an amazing sculptor. And I was just, absolutely over the moon that not only did he sculpt one that was exactly what I was hoping for, but then he named it after me, which was great.
Yeah, I'm when I saw the Bashadi one, I was like, oh, I'm making a Judge Dredd.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Because it's just the I didn't know that there was three of them. I'm gonna go back on Wolf King Custom Store now and check all three. But
it's really good for, I mean, if you just wanted to do basic troopers. I've seen some people use it like in like Transformers customs that they've done, like tributes, and yeah, it's just a really good head. It has a lot of uses for sure.
Okay, so this one's tech. I mean, I did the painting on it, but this is a Wolf King like at the show like display piece. So it's not my custom. I mean, I did the work on it. I just did some. I really like the green Curtis used on that one. And I might have to do some more on this to bring it a little bit more to life. But that's the the Cosmic Kitsune head Jeremy designed with Wolf King. And was that Walter sculpt?
I believe so, yes, on the head. I don't know about the bottom part.
Everything else, oh yeah, and then the wheels. So the custom pieces on here are the head. The chest plate is got it's the state of New Jersey, because that's where Len and Wolf King's located. And so the other custom part was something I believe he was working on with Nate Armstrong, and really awesome, talented customizer as well. Crazy Frankensteining stuff, kind of like our buddy Chris that we talked to on Shooting the Shelf, with his battle beast. Sorry. The wheel, so the feet plug onto the regular cosmic body, but there's a hole in it that he's got, like, I believe he took one of the spears from Mythic Legions, clipped it, ran it through there in the wheel, and there's some sort of rubber bands to hold it in place. So he just wanted to kind of have this kind of I don't think anyone said the words gizmo duck, but that kind of vibe, where it's someone kind of piloting along, what do they call them? The hoverboards now? Is that what those things are?
Yeah.
Where it's got the wheel in the middle.
Or one wheel.
Kind of, yeah, that kind of vibe. I've got one of the Detour custom plasma shields on it now, because Len sent this with me after ZoloCon to paint up to, take to MesquiteCon. So now I'll do a little bit more tweaking on it before we set up at the Lehigh Valley show on May 4th. So, but yeah,
look forward to seeing the updated. I said I looked forward to seeing the updated version.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because he
It looks
had it on the
awesome.
table, just the Sentry, the basic Sentry, and all of the custom parts were just like the just out of the printer. Like there was no paint on them. And he's like, take it, do something with it. I was like, okay. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh, Gizmo Duck, but the Kitsune Gizmo Duck or Kitsune Gizmo. And then I wanted to know how that wheel was in there, and because my mind went to, oh, I could do that with Lego and try and put like a Technic axle through one of the Lego wheels and make my own. So it's
Yeah.
cool that they use that you that that you all use mythic parts in the cosmic build.
Yeah, I think the feet and the wheel were 3D printed. It was really a pain trying to paint that wheel without taking the rod and stuff apart. So I had to like do a lot of little touch-ups on the inside of the feet because I kept getting black on the the foot. So but yeah, it's cool. I know he's trying to tweak it a little bit more to make it more workable. I don't think it's an available part yet, but I know it's something that they're working on. So
Okay, cool. The big
come
guy.
on.
Curtis, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. This one took a lot. I was working on this for over a month. I think it was probably closer to like a month and a half. Um, and so I saw this head at Legions Con, and it was sculpted by Walter DeMarco. It's actually called like the Demacian or something beast, which is after Walter DeMarco. And I just love this head, and it was made for the slog body, but it like I didn't feel like it would work in green. Like it didn't feel like it would work that way. So I knew I was going to have to do a full slog repaint if I was going to use it. Um, and so I started off, I took everything apart. I dyed the parts black, which was the first time I had, done dyeing on a figure. And then after that, there's a textured paint called Sterling Mud that has like some sand particles and things in it. And I applied that all over so that it would give it like a textured feel on the skin, so that instead of being like lizardy, it would be kind of more fuzzy or furry kind of thing, so that it would match in with the fur that's on the head. And then from there, it was just a full slog repaint and deciding, okay, which things I'm going to paint this color and which things I'm going to paint that color. And it was an absolute joy because there's so many details in here that I didn't fully appreciate from Eric Sculpt until I put a paintbrush to it, because they're so tiny and there's so many different spots. And, even we talked about the tusk, like you can choose which parts to paint. The Horsemen do the same thing. You'll see, like, as they, reuse the same tooling on different figures. One figure they're going to paint it that way, and one figure they're going to paint it this way. So there's things that I painted on here in different colors that if you just look at the slog, it's kind of blends in because it's painted one color in certain spots. So it really allowed me to kind of appreciate every bit of tooling and sculpting that he put into this. And it was just a ton of fun. And then I added a few more things. So like the cannon there was a piece from Stefan Delator, Detour Customs. I believe Len now owns that part. So I think he has the, where he's selling it, or it was made for a 1.0 body. But I converted it so that it would fit on Slog's hand, which required a lot of drilling and dremeling and different stuff. And then inside that cannon there, you can see where it kind of has like that flame effect. I was actually practicing with some paints, some contrast, some hot glue, like basically I was like pouring hot glue in there, and as it was wet, I was adding like contrast paints and different things to it, so that as the glue dried, it kind of held those colors, and it kind of mixed together so that you would see, kind of what you're seeing in there with that like flame effect. And then added some chains to him, a gun on his side hip, and there you go. Bob's your uncle.
It's amazing. I love the
Bob's your
special
uncle.
purple too. The purple on the
Yeah, it was one of those where I was like, I don't know what to, because the inspiration for the face, because of how just like gnarly and scary it was like the gorillas from Congo. I don't know if you remember that movie, but so that was kind of like my inspiration for the face, but he's also like a cosmic character. So I'm like, I wanted it to be somewhat kind of jungle themed, but all like a mix between like Terminator and like something like space, like so I have like the like the greens and browns in there, but then the metallic purple that kind of offsets it with the cosmic thing. So um yeah, it was, I had no idea when I went into this like what the finished look was going to be. Which for me sometimes is fun because there's certain customs that I'll go into and I'll plan it out ahead of time. Here's what I'm the overall look that I'm going for, and here's how I'm going to paint the different parts and that kind of thing. This one I had no direction whatsoever other than I just started, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to do this part now, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to make this like this, I'm going to do this color, and it just kind of evolved over a month and a half as I was painting all these parts. And um yeah, it was a ton of fun, but also a ton of work. So
Yeah, you don't see many people tackle the slog in customs. And I did see this was one of the very first ones I saw on the Cabal, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to Art by Akerman one day. I get to talk to you.
there you go.
It being purple though, did Jordan or Van try to buy it from you?
Yeah.
They have not yet, but it was one of those ones that as soon as I posted pictures, I had several people like, hey, I need that, I want to buy that, and I'm like, it'll be at Legions Con, so it'll be there and it'll have a price tag on it, and if somebody wants to buy it, great. But I don't like selling in between shows and stuff. Like I want to bring it, have it on display, and then if somebody chooses to buy it, that's great. But yeah, that's kind of my own personal thing. But this will be available at Legions Con. So
may I interject something there,
sure,
Curtis?
Yeah.
So it'll be available at Legions Con, but it'll be on display at Wolf King shows until Legions Con.
Correct. Yeah, I did send this off to Len through Jesse at MesquiteCon to have this on display for the next few months, and so it's kind of doing a farewell tour, so to speak. So it's
like,
yeah,
it's 5 feet off to my right here on the other side of my bookcase is like still packed up nicely in the box with stuff. So
it wasn't a ZoloCon though, was it?
No, that was
I just picked it up at Mesquite.
Okay, I was gonna say, I
but Lehigh Valley is the next one, so it'll be there. And then I think you guys got what, RetroCon is another one that you got before,
and then Maryland Toy Expo in July.
Yeah, nice. So it's going to visit a few shows, and then
awesome.
It'll be at Legions Con, and if somebody chooses to take it home with them, there you go.
It could be in your collection in November.
That's true.
That's so cool. When I saw the fire effects, I was like, did he use resin? Did he what like, is it like multiple parts in there? And then
a lot of times I do a lot of research, so I'll hit up like different Instagram accounts, I'll hit up YouTube and just like Google and read things. For that, I just played. I was like, you know what? I've never seen anybody mix hot glue and paint while the glue is melty and hot. I'm gonna try it. Let's see what happens. And then I put a little bit in there and mixed it, and I'm like, okay, I like that. And then I would add some more, and when I finally got the look that I wanted, then I let it dry. I glossed it, and I was like, okay, this is good. But I'd not even heard of anybody doing that. So sometimes you just gotta throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. So
even in customizing, we're playing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
That's all this is playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was one the guys at Legends of Grayskull, our buddies Matt and Sean, who do Offworld with us, they had their table at Legions Con. I forgot to take that out of this graphic. I apologize. This was something they kind of commissioned me to do as they just said, give us something to do as a giveaway. And I was like, well, I've got these parts This was the I guess the rest of the science officer and whatever other cosmic parts I had left at the time that weren't Sphexian parts that I used to make that other one. And I was like, I'm just gonna go wild, and so I just
Got
did
some
this like,
Oleg Sideguard.
Yep.
yeah, it's got the Olek
The
loin piece,
Yeah.
and that's, I think everything else is because I was mixing him into my mythic, so I'm like, all right, I guess I can say goodbye to this piece. So I pulled the black and orange from there and the green, and it just kind of gave me this like grasshopper, like cricket vibe. So I named it Chirp. I thought that would be like a
That's
fun,
funny.
kind of insectoid robot type vibe. And then that the blast effect, I'm pretty sure is from a Marvel Legend. I don't remember what, but I just like heated up the port on it and just forced it onto that Tusk gun to
Looks like
make it
War
fit.
Machine.
Okay,
Something from War Machine, Marvel's War Machine.
that makes sense. Yeah, it was just fun playing with it, and just going really wild with some colors. So
I do love the color. It reminds me of a grasshopper, and then the loin piece. It almost looks like a wing, kind of like a wing by itself. But yeah, I love it. I think it's super cool. Whoever won that was lucky.
yeah, I don't remember who won it, but yeah.
Me either.
But yeah, it's fine. Just with the head, I tried to make the black on the ends kind of look like the eyes on the side of the head of the insect and everything. So you weren't sure if it was that or the centerpiece. So
I like the high collar piece because it gives it like a shell, like an
Husk.
endoskeleton, like a husk.
oh yeah.
So cool. I'm a sucker for orange. Orange is my color, so anything I see
Okay.
orange.
Nice.
Note to self, make some orange customs for
Yep,
Legion's
yep.
Con.
Orange gang gang.
Orange gang gang.
Right.
Code burnt.
There you go.
Yeah, so these are more images of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love the back of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I like these images because it has the clear piece off of it, so it gives it even more of an insect feel.
Mm.
I gotta admit this one was fun to paint. I was kind of at my limit with how many of the details I was choosing to pick, because I think we came up with this like a week or two before Legion's Con, so I was just trying to get everything finished.
Thanks.
But yeah, it was a lot. I kind of want to get these parts and make a better version of it at some point.
Nice.
For Legion's Con 2024 for Jeff.
Maybe I'll make it orange with green highlights.
Nice chase figure.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Orcs in space.
That saw blade. I love that saw blade. Is that from the Charbots or?
Yes, it is.
That's so rad.
There's a lot of
So this whole thing started with that head sculpt. I'm in a group chat with Emil for Wolf King, and so I get to see some of the early things that he's working on before it's actually released. And he was showing me this orc that he's working on. He's got this little video that he posted in our chat, and so I'm looking at the orc, and I'm like, okay, that's a cool orc and this and that. And he goes, and I did this other version that I think Curtis might like, and then he shows the other version, and it's this one, and I'm like, Len, I need that like right away. And he's like, yeah, I'll get it to you as soon as it's printed. And then like the next day I'm like, hey, did you get that printed yet? And he's like, not yet, but and I was just like on him like every day. And so I went to MesquiCon, and this one was going to be in the mail while we were out at the show. So at the show, I ended up picking up an extra Canox Vol because I knew I wanted the cybernetic leg, and I wanted like his pauldron and some of his other pieces from there. Because I wanted this guy to be brute scale, and I bought extra Tharnogs just so that I could do some extra things with brute scale, because I just love that bigger body size. So really, like the parts on the body are really just popping and swapping, the cybernetic parts from Canox Vol and all the green parts from Tharnog, and just throwing them together. And then The gun there is from a McFarlane figure. That's like a gunslinger spawn or something. So I did a full repaint on that because it looks kind of goofy from the McFarlane one, but I did a full repaint on it to make it look more metal. And then the missiles on the side of that gun are also from a Charbot. So I dremeled the side of that gun off, and then drilled a hole so that I could plug those missiles in there. And I was actually doing some read up like lore on space orcs, like from Warhammer, because I don't play Warhammer, but I know they've got like this whole section of orcs that are like enhanced with cybernetic parts and all this kind of thing. And one of the cool things that I read was that if enough orcs believe something, they have like something about their physiology allows it to be true. So if they believe in something enough, it becomes true. They can change reality. And so one of the things that they believe is that if you paint missiles yellow, it makes them explode bigger. so I wanted to like throw some yellow paint on it, but I don't want to just make it yellow. I want it to look like they just slapped some paint on it. So I kind of haphazardly, threw some yellow on the missiles there. And then, through that Charbot saw on the one pauldron, which is not a pauldron that comes with it. That was a makeshift one that I got for some fodder on that other side. And then the last thing I did with this is on the back of that head, I actually drilled a hole into the head, which you got to be real careful with resin parts because the whole piece could just shatter. But I started with a really small drill bit and then went to a little bit bigger until I got the hole where I needed to, so that the hose from Canox that goes like from the part on his back to his head would fit in the head of this one. And then, did the paint job on the head to match the body, and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, this you said the word earlier when you said metal. This figure to me is metal. Like I hear like heavy metal, like Slayer or something just going off, and like gunfire, explosions, shells flying everywhere. Like this could totally be a retail figure in my mind. Like if this was like a Kickstarter, I'd be like, here's my wallet. Like I'm not a big orc person, but this is like the most metal figure I've ever seen. So
yeah, I mean, you guys were talking earlier about kind of like what things to expect in Cosmic going forward. And I don't think they're actually going to do Orcs in Space themselves. I do think we're going to see a lot more of this, mix between, technology and organic parts and things like that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see more things like this. And I hope so, because I need some more parts. I used them all up on this figure.
And I hope this makes it to Legions Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. Canox Vol is my favorite brute scale character. The mysteries of the spiral ring and then finding out that it's named after a red spiral ring notebook that Eric Treadway had. I want a spiral ring character that's red, like after I heard that. But yeah, there's more to come for the spiral ring. And just like the Shadow Circle, those two affiliations are two that I'm definitely looking forward to going forward.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking to do more of these for sure.
I love it. Super cool.
This one is mine as well. This is just kind of same thing I was talking about earlier, where the color scheme I got was from kind of Clone Wars, from the Clone Troopers. This is my version of Old Man Rex from Clone Wars as well. Well, actually, it'd be from, I guess, Rebels. So the guns on the side there, there's like these on that belt. There's like these circles that you can see kind of in the front. They've got like the circles towards the front on the sides. There's another set of those on the side there that are like the perfect size for like the hole that's in the gun. And so what I did was I kind of drilled that out a little bit so that that soft plastic, I drilled that out, and then I slapped some magnets in there And then on the other end, I slapped a magnet on the inside of that gun. So those actually just stick on the side there, and then he can grab them and pull them off and use them. And then you can just slap them back on. I'm not a huge fan of the design with the little plastic peg. I think it sticks out too far and it kind of looks odd. So I really liked this with magnets. And I hope maybe they kind of move to that. That would be awesome if they could. And then the rest of it, I just, try to paint up to look like Old Man Rex. I found this head that had the beard with the bald head. And then on the side of the helmet there, I put his little tick marks and all that kind of stuff. And I actually gave this away last Legions Con to a good friend of ours, Old Man Kyle. So he's a huge Star Wars fan, Clone Wars especially. So I knew he would appreciate this.
That's cool. That's cool. I was like, I recognize the character. What is this character that he was tributing to? And
yeah,
Old Man Rex.
Unfortunately, I never got like really good pictures with it. Like I didn't do like usually I try to do like a photo box picture or something with a dio or something. But I had finished this like shortly before Legions Con last year, and then I gave it to Kyle at Legions Con, so I never got any real good pictures. So this is just like the finished one that was at my desk like as I was finishing it. So yeah.
That's really cool. And that brings us to shooting the shelf gets shot. So we've talked for about 2.5 hours. Thank you guys for joining us on Cosmic Connections. We really appreciate you spending time with us and talking to the community and coming off your show and coming on to somebody else's show.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a bait and switch, because I watched that first episode, the episode, and it's like 30 minutes long. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be a short thing, and then yeah, you guys got us all night. So
you guys have too much content for us. We're kind of boring without you guys.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do I cut it down or I just make everybody sit through it all? So
that said, I've got something I want to add, if I can, real quick, back to the connections. Curtis, I know, just finished it. I watched it a couple weeks ago. We just watched the 3 Body Problem on Netflix, which absolutely love. And I know it's late in the episode to try to dive into that now, but highly recommend that show. We both watched Invasion on Apple TV and enjoyed that.
Did you watch Monarch? I wanted
to. Yes. Yeah, I like that. I also saw Godzilla and Ghostbusters recently. So I'm caught up on those, but yeah, looking forward to Planet of the Apes in May.
Yes. Alien Romulus is one of my like number one that I want to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll have to check out those. I've heard about all of those shows and I have not watched them. Monarch I did want to catch, but I haven't got around to it yet.
The one thing I've found with these like more, I guess, psychological sci-fi is you've got to give it time to develop, because especially 3 Body Problem, I'll say like the first 2 episodes I was like, what am I watching? Like I don't understand, I don't know what's going on. And then it's not just that one, but a lot of these series, like you get to like episode like 3 or 4 and then you start piecing it together. You're like, oh, okay, so this is and that person was talking about that, and you're like, okay, now this is starting making sense to me. So you gotta be invested in it, because if you just try it out and like watch one episode, yeah, you're not gonna see the bang for your buck. So
Paint It Yellow.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I have to watch that.
Yeah, it's based off on a book or a series of books. I don't know how old they are. It's a trilogy. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard the books are good, but I also don't read, so
it's a fairly new trilogy, like in the last decade.
You're smart enough, Curtis.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't have the time.
I was actually watching Tested, Adam Savage's Tested, and he brought it up, and I was like, there's a new sci-fi trilogy that's happening on Netflix. So I looked it up, and then I found out that it's a Chinese book translated into English like within the last decade, and then they they got it optioned at Netflix. So
Well, I'm glad they made a show out of it, because I was not going to read the books.
It's amazing, amazing acting. I think Apple doesn't do a lot of shows, but they put a lot into their shows.
Yeah.
Like
They get a lot of good ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
There was a good one.
We do our little Wednesday one shots where we kind of talk about like a show or movie or something that we're recommending. And there's been, I think, like 3 or 4 of them that were from Apple TV, just because they
Yeah.
got a lot of really good series.
They've been leaning on sci-fi, and I like that. I think they did Foundation, and then there was a Tom Hanks movie about a robot that he'd built. I can't.
That was a good
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I
really
need to watch
good.
that one.
Yeah, really good, especially if you
And
like robots.
they did Silo too, was this past year. That was really good. So,
and I consider it sci-fi fantasy C. I know
Mhm.
Jeremy Gerard's
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about C
yeah.
with Momoa, Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah, where everyone's
Sorry.
blind.
That just made me think I had to talk about comic books
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah, what you
'Cause I
got?
worked in a comic shop for almost 12 years.
I did
Just
5.
recently. Okay. I just stepped back in the fall this year, or this past year. But 2 more modern sci-fi ones that I really liked were Low,
Low is
by that was Rick Remender, right? And
Was that the one in the
what was it?
ocean? It was like an ocean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
humanity
that.
had retreated into the oceans because the atmosphere wasn't breathable. And it's weird. He's like, this is my story. You read the first issue and it's dark. Like it ends horribly for the characters you just spent this whole first issue getting to know. And then like he's got his letter to the audience like in the back page, and he's like, so this is my book about hope. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
Because hope is one of my biggest driving concepts. Like the concept of hope is a huge thing for me. So it's like, all right, I've got to stick with this book no matter. And it is a brutal onslaught of a story, but like hope, it's powerful stuff. Curtis, I don't recommend it to you because it's heavy, hard, a lot of reading. Not making fun of you, but it's hard to get through.
I will tell you though that the S stands for hope. I don't know.
Yes, stands for yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
I think the other series I'm about to recommend is also by Rick Remender. I think.
Is it Attorney? Attorney?
No, 7 to Eternity.
7 to Eternity. That's
No, it is Black Science.
Black Science. Okay.
That was really fun. It's these people, they develop this thing that like gets into the onion different. So it's all these different realities. And again, it's really heady, weird stuff. I don't even know if I fully understood half of it, but I love the art style in it. It's very dynamic. I don't know if you would like the art, Curtis. I don't know if you would like the art on either of those. Honestly.
I didn't like the art on Low. I bought the first couple of issues and I'm like, I do not like this art.
So
if you're looking for art, check out 7 to Eternity. Like that.
Yeah. He's got the artist on 7 to Eternity is definitely more like that cleaner, crisp look that I know Curtis likes more.
Yeah.
And of course, Saga, just somewhere between sci-fi and fantasy, is one of the most bonkers, amazing comic books ever.
I like the Project Blue book too. Was interesting.
Ooh, I've not read. I saw that one, but I did not read it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just starting a new series, I believe.
Oh, cool.
So might be worth checking it.
I'm a big Green Lantern fan, and there's like 3 titles going simultaneously right now, so I'm in Green Lantern heaven.
Awesome.
The John Stewart one is more interesting than the Alan Scott or the Hal Jordan ones, but I recommend if you're a Green Lantern fan, all 3 are cool.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we've made it to the end of Cosmic Connections with Shooting the Shelf. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate you guys so much for your time and saying yes. That's huge. So we appreciate you guys and your time so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm notoriously hard to book for a show, so I'm really glad. Yeah, I'm glad you guys were able to work with my agent and clear the schedule enough that I could do this.
Thank you, darling.
No, this was a blast. I've been looking forward to it, and it was really great chat, and I can't wait to see where your show goes. And yeah, get us scheduled. Put us on the calendar for 8 to 10 years. We'll come back and revisit that
Well,
that
hopefully,
conversation.
Hopefully sooner. Hopefully.
yeah.
Well,
Hopefully,
yeah,
yes.
sure,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
We'll try to truncate it a little bit,
Gotcha.
maybe.
So let's do the normal YouTube ending. Where can we find you all, or what's happening in the future for you?
Well, you can find me everywhere. If you're not seeing me, like, are you even in the community? I don't know. Because I'm, pretty much almost every night of the week I'm somewhere.
Yep.
So just be on the lookout. But Jesse, I'll turn it over to you because you're a little bit more reclusive than I am.
We've got Shooting the Shelf Sunday nights on the Just Shelve channel. We got Wednesday one shots on Wednesdays at noon. If you remember the channel, you get a little earlier access to them depending on how soon I get them uploaded. We've got a new short series coming out called Rats, which the first one will probably be debuting maybe tonight if I can get it uploaded in time. Which another little short segments just to kind of not drag into our long show.
Like Wednesday one shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Wednesday one shots, 15 minutes about a specific show, movie, something.
Yeah.
Rats is going to be about something specifically out of our collections.
Cool.
Curtis, is it okay if I say what Rats is?
This would be an exclusive for them, but yeah, absolutely.
And
Rats.
this will air in 2 weeks, so you'll
Okay.
already have it out.
Well,
So this will be out.
happening.
So, okay. So for those of you who are listening to this in the future, you have already seen this, but Rats is random ass things. So we're kicking off. Curtis is doing by the time this airs, it will already be out, and hopefully I'll have one by then. Where we just pick a thing or a topic of things in our collection to kind of focus and show off, and just kind of dial in on that specific thing or few things. So
you're shooting your shelves.
yes.
Cool,
Basically.
Keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean.
And then Mythic Minute Thursday nights, usually Thursday nights at 9 o'clock in the Cabal, the Mythic Legions Cabal, which I'm still waiting for someone to pick up the cosmic side of that, do like a cosmic countdown or something like that to offset that. But
Oh, that's the thing. Okay.
I mean that's just the one in my head. What it would be called.
I didn't even know that we're looking to do that. I mean, I can't compete with the customizing studio, so I might as well do the cosmic countdown or cosmic. I'll work on that.
Yeah,
And,
the chrono continuum. I don't know.
I'll talk to Colin on how to set that up.
There you go.
Cool.
Very cool. And I think that's pretty much it, Curtis.
Yep, I think that's it.
I mean, I'll be at all the Wolf King shows this year, and then we'll both be at Legions Con.
Lehigh Valley is first.
Lehigh Valley is the next one, May 4th, Saturday, May 4th.
Star Wars.
There's two. Star Wars. I think there was a
And,
Lehigh one this past weekend, but slightly different name. This one's in Allentown or Easton. Sorry.
The other one was probably in Allentown.
Yes.
Funny thing to go off of tangent. I didn't know that you lived in Pennsylvania, and I grew up in Bucks County. So
okay.
I went to school in Newtown, Pennsylvania, and I was born in Princeton, New Jersey, and grew up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I know where you're from. I know the area that you are.
Right in Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg area is where I live. So I'm about 2 hours from Easton, 2.5 hours Easton, 3 hours from like Legions Con and stuff. So
yeah.
Cool.
I'm on the Cabal, Jeff -REY Evans. My Instagram is MadJeff2029, and on YouTube Jevons24. But you can also find me on Source Figure, which is our channel that is the home for Cosmic Connections. Go ahead, Greg.
And I'm also in the Cabal. Schmerbenberger. Old Dawson is my Instagram. And I'm around. Not as much as Curtis, but I get out there.
Yeah, pretty close.
I try. It's fun. I got no life, you know. No offense, Curtis, but I got no
You're-
life. So
You're in the comments as much as me, that's for sure.
right.
That's what I was meaning.
I got nothing else to do. Sleep, work, and Cabal. That's it.
Remember, Greg is like the appearance of Curtis at cons or shows because
There
you
you
can't
go.
get to all of the cons and shows.
Right. Right. I'm at your back door. I'm coming up. I'm trying.
Eat, sleep, Cabal. We need that shirt.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go. That's it. Anyways, thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. We said goodbye 3 or 4 times now, but
Yeah.
thank you guys.
But luckily
been a
it's
blast. Thank
recorded
you.
and I can edit. Thank you. And thank you, audience. Please like, subscribe, follow us on the Cabal, follow Source Figure. There's more details in the description below for all of our handles and social media and connections. And like I say, make those connections in the cosmic.
Keep dreaming.